As one of the few Riot MMO content creators, every time I release a new video about the Riot MMO or go live on Twitch, I am flooded with questions about the future of the game. And while I love having conversations with you all, I thought it would be valuable to condense the top 10 frequently asked questions into a single video, just for reference. Now, keep in mind, as always, the game is early in development and things may change. I'll try to answer the questions in the most factual and with the least amount of speculation as possible, but due to the current gaping hole of information we currently have, some speculation is kind of necessary. As always, I will continue making these types of videos, redoing them as we get more concrete information and keeping you, the viewer, up to date on the progress of the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay current with the development and future news regarding the title. With all that mumbo jumbo out of the way, let's get started. The first question, and probably the most common one I get in every single video, Twitter, Twitch, everywhere I am, is the game going to be third person, isometric, or potentially something else? And from my perspective, pun intended, I think there's probably a 80% chance that it's going to be third person. Now, the official statement from Greg Street says that we haven't announced that yet. A big challenge of games of this scale is innovating just enough without innovating so much that you lose the magic or move completely out of the genre. To me, this is a bit of a weird response to being asked if the game is going to be first person, third person, or isometric. I think what he's trying to say here is that it's just not that simple. They're going for something that we've never seen before and trying to innovate on the standard third-person MMORPG. But I think given the different job postings, the descriptions, as well as some of the roles that have been filled within the MMO, they're leaning very heavily toward being a third-person MMORPG. A second very common question I get is, when is the setting of the MMO going to take place? And what time frame? And yes, I know I've made a very extensive video on this only about a month ago, so if you want a more in-depth answer, go check that out. But we will be playing alongside the different champions that have been made popular in League of Legends, as well as some of the other games now. Many of these champions are only around for the last 20-30 years on the official timeline. And to me, this all but confirms that we will be playing in modern era Runeterra. Next question I get commonly asked is, who's making it? And well, yes, it's Riot Games, and that may seem incredibly obvious. An MMO takes hundreds upon hundreds of different developers to craft this massive world with all of its different design decisions, world, and many other features. Riot Games has taken it upon themselves to hire some of the most talented individuals within the industry, gather them all together to make this amazing world that we're going to get to play. To be honest, it takes a lot of experience to create an MMO. So where are these people coming from? Now, most obviously, we have Greg Ghostcrawler Street, obviously coming from Riot Games already, and previously working at Blizzard on World of Warcraft. Through his experience at these two studios, he's made tons of friends in the MMO industry, of which he's brought over to the Riot MMO project. We have encounter designers from World of Warcraft, so you can expect to see some raids and dungeons that will be similar in depth to World of Warcraft, as well as expanding and innovating on those basic fundamentals. We also have storyline and narrative directors who have been working on Riot Games' World of Runeterra for many, many years now, as well as quest designers coming from Cyberpunk and the Witcher series. As Greg has stated many, many times on Twitter, this team is stacked. It's just loaded to the brim with great talent in the industry, and I think we can expect a really, really enjoyable and fun game. So what's the PvE and PvP look like? Like I stated previously, we have a few encounter designers from World of Warcraft coming to work on the Riot MMO. So we may see encounters similar to WoW's raid and dungeon mechanics. As far as PvP, yes, we will see PvP. and most likely will have separate balance from the PvE side of the game. Greg has said this about the game. As I said before, we know players want different things in an MMO, and we won't be able to deliver on all of it. Some want almost all PvP, some want almost all PvE, some want nostalgia, some want something brand new. None of those desires are wrong, basically implying that there will be something to do for all players. How about the combat? What's the combat gonna look like? Action combat. There's really no discussion on this, simply based on the job postings they have created. They have posted action combat specialist positions, of which have been filled, as well as stating under required qualifications that they will need a deep level understanding of multiplayer PvE games, action RPGs, MMOs, etc., as well as the ability to design and improve combat mechanics and systems that contribute to satisfying visceral combat. So yeah, action combat. Though as far as the specifics, we'll still have to wait. Now it's been beaten like a dead horse, but is the game going to be pay to win? In the MMO world, pay to win is kind of just the worst thing imaginable to happen to any game, really. I think people are constantly afraid that their game is going to be pay to win or is going to become pay to win at some point down the line. And I think given Riot's track record, we really aren't going to see anything pay to win. Greg has even gone as far to state that power will not be purchasable, all but implying that pay to win is just not going to be in the game. Now, I know a lot of you would just love for the game to be subscription because it prevents bots and it does other great things for the games. And while I do agree, I think forcing a subscription on an MMO is more treating the symptoms rather than treating the disease itself. In my mind, in a perfect world, we wouldn't have bots, we wouldn't have gold sellers, and we wouldn't have all these things because the game implements systems that keeps them out of it. Without having to implement a subscription model, and at the same time allowing more and more players to come and enjoy the game and make it truly a massive world. I think this has been already touched upon a bit by myself and more extensively by Necrid himself, but I think we can basically assume right now that we will see humans, Vastaya, and Yordles as playable characters. Now, we may see some others such as Minotaurs, but I personally highly doubt it. We'll most likely be seeing a class system too that will support the holy trinity of tank, DPS, and healer/support. All of which will fit nicely into Riot's predefined class system that we already see this day in League of Legends. Now, will we see racial abilities? No, we're not going to see racial abilities. Ghostcrawler has already said that he hates the idea of them, and we're not going to be seeing those in the Riot MMORPG. Is the world actually done? No, it's not. As we saw earlier this week, they are still massively expanding the official world of Runeterra. They recently added an entire new continent, effectively doubling the playable landmass, though it may be unlikely to see at release. Now, Riot has been hard at work developing the world and its lore, but most, if not all, of the actual building of it within the game has not even been started. So yes, the world from a lore perspective is mostly complete, but from a gameplay perspective, they need to flesh out every single nook and cranny of the world of Runeterra, and that's going to take some time. So is the game going to be a sandbox or theme park? Greg has been asked this directly a few different times, and he's always responded by saying, "We have talked a whole lot about this topic. I wish I could share our answer here, but we are pretty excited and confident about it." This, in my opinion, is a great answer, and I think given his other statements on Twitter, heavily implies that it simply doesn't fit into either of these categories. They are looking on improving upon what the MMO industry has already done, not necessarily sticking themselves inside a small and confined box like Sandbox or Themepark. We could probably expect something more akin to a Sandpark or Themebox. Alright, Spawn, so when's the damn game coming out? And I can't tell you exactly. Trust me when I say I wish I knew, but they have been working on it longer than you may think. Many employees at Riot were transferred to a secret R&D project around 4 years ago, one of these being Greg Street. We have UX designers who have officially been on the project for over 2 years. This is being verified and confirmed on their LinkedIn. This, coupled with the fact that Riot has been aggressively hiring for the project for over a year, having seemingly endless funds, and just being Riot, who keeps their projects fairly secret until they are much, much closer to release. I think we can expect to see the game really in 3 to 4 years. And there you have it. That's the top 10 questions I get asked in my comments and on Twitch. As always, thank you guys for coming out. I know that video was just slam packed with random speculative information, and I love making these videos and discussing this all with you guys. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment down below what your thoughts are. Head on over to my Twitch. I'm live right now, as I always am when I post my videos. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.